Matt, this is a major issue. And I said, okay. He said, have you seen these? I said, no, I have not. And he said, listen, I've been doing this 20 years. These things are amazing. And I was like, I mean, I didn't want to say, well, I have a fine arts degree. So I had one mortgage broker who would continually use the same checks and continually sent those checks to the same lender. Well, one of the underwriters at some point got like 2 of his loans at the same time.
Oh, no.
And was underwriting them both basically at the same time or within a few hours.
Damn it, Chad.
Yeah, exactly. LaFuente, Eddie LaFuente.
Oh, God.
And she, jerk off. So she looked at him and she went, oh, wow.
Same shit.
These look, oh, wow. Like the names are the only things that are changed on these two, right? So it's the same $1,100, $1,100. The dates went through the same. Everything's identical. It's the same bank. Everything. And she went, oh no. She goes to the owner. The owner catches it. They pull all of his files over and pull like
every single loan.
Every one of them. Like just an idiot. Like I've got 8 or 9 different banks. What are you doing? He's just laziness. It's just sloppy. I can't stand sloppy fraud. So he ends up getting. It ends up being a couple $1 million. Like it very quickly, when you're doing $150,000, $200,000 loans,
sure.
It very quickly ends up being a couple over the course of a month.
It's worth a lot more back then too.
Yeah, listen, it's bad. It was bad. And so I get a phone call. First I get a phone call.
Now, this one, were you worried about this one? Were you worried like they're going to call somebody on this? Because it was so egregious.
It was egregious. So I was concerned, but I was ready to throw Eddie LaFuente under the bus. So I wasn't concerned that I had done anything. So the owner calls up. So Gary calls me up, and I'd gotten a heads up from the account executive. Called me and said, "Well, there's something going on. They're pulling files." I just got a phone call from one of the the secretaries or whoever, the loan processor said, "Oh my God, we just pulled this. You need to call Matt." There's a whole conspiracy of all these. So they called me, and I'm ready. I get the phone call. "Hey, Gary, what's up?" And Gary's like, "So, I don't know if you've heard this or not." He said, "But we caught this. There's a problem. You've got a broker there that he's using these canceled checks." And I go, "A rogue broker?" And he goes, "Yeah, a rogue broker." I said, "Okay."
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, I was like, and he said, "Because you don't know anything about this." I said, "Absolutely not, Gary." And he went,
"I'm offended by the assertion."
I've been offended. I've done the offended. What are you saying? So he was like, "Yeah, well, So he explains. We pulled all the files. We did this. And Matt, this is a major issue. And I said, okay. He said, have you seen these? I said, no, I have not. And he said, listen, I've been doing this 20 years. These things are amazing. And I was like, I didn't want to say, well, I have a fine arts degree. So I said, yeah. I said, listen, bro, I haven't seen them, but I'll take a look. And he goes, okay. He said, well, look, there's $2 million, and we've already sold $1 million worth of this. Has already been sold. There's $1 million of
it's
bad
already
loans.
Passed off to another holder.
Household Bank.
God.
Household Bank. Remember Household Bank?
Yeah. This was the whole system.
HSBC.
Yeah.
So he's already sold these. He still has $1 million on his pipeline though. And he goes, so it's still $1 million here. And I went, okay. And he said, he said, I don't know he said, Matt, so you understand it's $1 million. So I said, Gary, let's cut to the chase, bro. I said, if you're expecting at the end of this phone call that I'm cutting you a check for $1 million, it's never going to happen. That's just not going to happen. So I suggest we start figuring out how we can deal with this in a way that doesn't have me cutting a check for $1 million. And he went, and I think it was like $2 million, because let's face it, ethically, he should have contacted Household Bank and said, listen, man, we just sold you $1 million worth of bad paper. So I went, and he sat there and he goes, no, look, I get that. He said, you don't know anything about this. I said, absolutely not. And he said, that broker, what's going on with him? I said, he's packing it. He was actually sitting in my office staring at me. I go, he's packing his bags right now. And he was like,
what's Eddie doing right now?
Yeah, he's just looking at me. He's hoping not to go to jail.
Right.
And I said, look, if we can not call the authorities or anything, and I said, that would be great. And he goes, no. He said, listen, nobody wants the FBI looking through their stuff. He said, what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and pass these off to Household Bank. I just need you to give me your word that if any of these loans come back on me, that you'll help me get rid of the properties Of course. What am I going to say? Nah, you're on your own. Fuck you, Gary.
Yeah,
I'm like, of course, bro. I said, I
got you.
got you, bro. So, and let's face it. Here's the funny thing: is like most people are like, oh, that's a fraudulent loan. Yeah, but guess what? Fraudulent loans, they perform. So, believe it or not, now do they perform as high as a normal mortgage? Probably
Depends
not.
on what the fraud is.
Right, but let's face it, probably not. But if it goes under 2 years later, what is the chances that the third bank that now owns this is going to catch it? 0.